And the point I was making was that at the time, many governments were pursuing the idea of a citizen-centric portal. So they had this view of this so-called life event model, by which in a portal people would find a list of the important events in their life, and all the government information and services would be clustered around those events, like birth of the family, you have to send the kids to school, you need to go to the hospital. I mean, interesting stuff. The problem though, as I said it back in 2001, is that the view that government has of what I believe are my life events is not my own view. So what government calls citizen-centric is not citizen-centric to me. Just to give an example, one of the best, I think the best examples of one of those services was the change of address. I think many countries have implemented it. In the past, people had to communicate to multiple agencies and multiple tiers of government. I've changed my address. And the life event, change address, would give me only one point of contact for me to tell government once and once only, I've changed my address. That's great, I mean, I don't contest it. However, if I think about myself changing house, as I did recently, government is not my first point of contact, because I think first about I need a phone line, I need water, I need gas, I need electricity. So probably I will go to a utility first to tell them I'm going to change address. The utility is very welcome to tell government that I've changed address. So the old model of the portal where, I mean, it's sort of a pull model. Let's pull the people into this portal was flawed from the very beginning, because people don't really care about government until when they really need it, which usually is in areas like, you know, social security, and sometimes, although we wouldn't like to need it, taxes. In many other areas, it's not the first point of contact. So what I said is, well, look, you need to have what I call an intermediary policy to understand how many other natural points of contact people have online or offline before getting to government. Now what is interesting is that over the last 10 years, I've seen that happening. I've got so many calls from clients, those same clients who hated me in 2001, to ask me, well, Andrea, how comes that our portal is not being used? Well, you know, I told you. And now with this government 2.0 move, where, you know, the whole paradigm is that people get more engaged in how information and services are managed and delivered, this is becoming even more true. So the portal as a role, which, as I've always said, is the electronic equivalent of the national flag. You need to have it, it's a matter of pride. The level of value it will provide depends on, you know, different services, category services, and probably different jurisdictions. I think it's they have not changed in the sense that if I look at some of the electronic services, some of them are excellent. If I look at taxation around the world, I think it's a great example. Online tax filing and what it has done in terms of speeding up tax reimbursement and all the rest of it is great. The point is that that has little to do with portals. Those portals are about a variety of very diverse government services all in one place. Whereas if I pay taxes, I'm actually instinctively, I will go to the tax agency website. If I'm actually dealing with Social Security, I will go to the Social Security website. So the point is, whereas you can point to many examples in the area of effective and efficient electronic services, it is difficult to point to examples where the portal itself has really made a difference. So you actually go there, you find the service, but the point is that going to make my life easier than just going straight to a particular website? So coming to the other question, are there good examples? I think there are good examples, and I go back to the Singapore one, some of the Australian states as well, and very nice portals. So you can find information pretty easily. But the point is, what is the value added by that portal to existing websites from different agencies? So I think the issue of portal is more relevant in specific domains like, you know, Social Security. If you look at Centrelink in Australia, that's a good example. But when you look at portals across the entirety of government services, it's really a matter of, do people really care about this? I think the challenges are the same at local or at the national level. The point always is about how do we provide information and services that are relevant to people or to businesses, whoever the target audience is. And I've not seen, although local government is closer to people, so perhaps they have more interesting information, the kind of challenges they have in being relevant are very similar to those that federal or state governments have in other parts of the world. I think the point really is who should be collaborating with government? Which party do you bring to the table? And I go back to my point about intermediary policies. How many other point of contacts do people have or want to have when they deal with government? Do you want to, as from a previous example, do you want to communicate your change of interest to a utility? Or do you want to actually choose a hospital through a social community, a social network that is actually rating hospitals, so something that is not even controlled by government? Or do you want to deal with social security through an insurance company? I mean, there are a number of different ways people want to consume and sometimes participate in service delivery. And what is important is the government has a pretty broad table to which all those different intermediaries or partners, if you like, can be invited. The emerging partner, though, is, as I said a moment ago, social networks. And it's very difficult to bring that to the table because social network is about people self-organizing and deciding, how to relate to government. A good example, I think, is in the area of education, where many governments have done extraordinary things in providing information about the quality of schools, giving you information that should allow a parent to choose about where to send a kid to school. Now, do parents care? No, they don't, because they go on Facebook, they go on LinkedIn, they go on specific websites that people like us organize, where people like us tell about their experience with their kids at school, and those websites are far more important than any government website or portal to let us decide where to send the kid to school. I think it's important for government to start realizing, and they do somewhere, by the way, to start realizing that there are these other intermediaries that have to be brought to the table. They are difficult to point your finger to because you don't know who they are, where they are, but they will have an increasing role in shaping the way in which people relate to government electronically. I think it's a twofold approach. The first one is they clearly have to make their own websites, their own portal more relevant. It's true that people care about the local level, but they also care about what the federal government or the state government or the national government does. The other part of the strategy should be to create a liaison with the local portals, to make sure the local portals convey information about national programs, federal programs, and so forth. So to look at the local government websites and portal as a channel for their own marketing. The problem often is that local and state or federal government don't get along with each other very well. So there are budgetary issues, there are program issues, there are sometimes political conflicts. But I think those two approaches, be yourself more relevant and try to convey your own information through local channels, is probably the best.